Okay. So I feel like this call, like, it's funny because it all kind of like went into place when it comes to talking about fearless recruiting. Um, because I think it was the last team, or what was it, 2 team calls ago or whatever, whenever it was, we talked about, okay, our focus as a team for the month of October is going to be recruiting new coaches onto the team. That is our focus this month. And that is personally my focus for the next couple months. My goal for October and November combined is to sign a combined total of 20 new coaches. So I was talking to Leslie this morning, and I have a feeling that a lot of that will probably happen in November, because really diving in and, trying new things and doing new things and taking new action this month, I'll probably see a lot of that really pay off in November. So you guys know that is kind of how this business works. You have to take action and then you see the payoff later on. But it's funny because I am in a training group with Christina Delgado and a couple other people. And in the group the other night, she did a call and it was centered around recruiting. And I'm like, wow, this couldn't be more perfect timing, because this is exactly what I'm focusing on right now and exactly what I want my team to focus on. And it kind of seems like maybe that's the focus of a lot of the top coaches right now. So one thing I want to point out to you guys is that we are in the last quarter of the year. And a lot of people look at that like, okay, well, maybe I didn't really do what I wanted to do this year. Or, I'm a new coach, so I don't really need to worry about the end of the year or whatever it is. And it should actually be the opposite way of thinking. So just like I said before, the work that we put in, it pays off later on. So I want you guys to look at it this way. The work you put in right now, these last 3 months of the year, the end of the quarter, that is going to set your next year up, set your business up, okay? So that work you put in is going to bring your new coaches for 2019. So if you have goals in 2019 of being a premier coach or being an elite coach or being a diamond coach or whatever it is, you want to put in the work now, okay? So you really want to dial in. You want to get focused the last quarter of the year. And instead of looking at it like the end of this year, look at it like the beginning of your business for next year. What do you want to accomplish next year? That's where your mindset needs to be. Okay, so Christina, of course I get on the call and like everybody starts texting me now. My brother, I'm like, I got to make sure it's not an emergency. Okay, so Christina Delgado, her call was based around recruiting. So I'm going to literally be delivering to you guys a lot of what she talked about. I'm going off of notes that I took from her call, and then or from her training. And then I'm also adding a little bit of my stuff and a little bit of other, takeaways and things that I think will be good for you guys. So just know that a lot of this info and advice and everything came from Christina Delgado, which if you don't know who she is, she did a national wake up call, 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And if you haven't listened to that call, it's an awesome call. I think I shared it in the team page. But she's been a coach for like 8 years. She's never been a top 10 coach, which I think is kind of cool. She openly talks about that, and she'll tell you, listen, like, I'm not aiming for top 10. That's not what I'm looking for, but she has had massive success in her business. So just to kind of give you a little bit of, insight of who she is and, why you should take her advice. So, okay. So talking about recruiting. So she broke it down into kind of 3 different categories. I'm going to break it down for you guys and add some stuff here and there. So the first thing is truth. The truth bombs, all that kind of stuff when it comes to recruiting. And we're really talking about recruiting new coaches, not so much recruiting challengers. So we all know that there's kind of 2 different sides of our business: health and fitness, recruiting challengers, and then there's the business side, recruiting coaches. And I find that a lot of my coaches, a lot of my team, and probably because I was this way and I've always been this way, we really like kill it in the challenger side and the health and fitness side. And we have no problem talking about that. Like we will talk about that all day long. But when it comes to the business side, we're like, we're just going to kind of forget about that part of it. And we're just going to kind of cruise over here. And so it ends up being, you know, a side of the business that a lot of people just kind of don't do anything in. They just hang out on the health and fitness side. They just talk about, you know, the workouts, and they sign challengers, but then they don't build a team and they don't build a business. Okay. So we're really talking about recruiting coaches on this call. That's kind of the focus of this call. The focus, like I said, my focus for the next couple months in the area that I'm really diving into. Now, I'm not saying to go disappear on the challenger side and not do anything with that. You always want to be doing the two together. Okay. All right. So the first truth is you're not going to die from recruiting. Okay? This seems stupid, but we really do create all these irrational fears in our head of, you know, if we're trying to recruit coaches or we're talking about the business, all these awful things are going to happen. And I can tell you guys that 99% of the things that we're afraid of are never going to happen. 99% of the thoughts that we think people are going to have about us recruiting them or whatever aren't going to happen. Okay. So just know that you're not going to die from recruiting. You're going to be totally fine and you're going to move forward. Okay. Number two is something that I think we all know, but I think we kind of, we don't think about it. Like we purposely don't think about it. You know, we kind of just brush it off. But number two is your income can only grow if you recruit coaches onto your team. Okay. So we all know that we can make commission off of challengers, right? Like we can make commission off of anything we sell. So yes, your income can grow in that area. But guys, it is much harder to try to sling 5,000 challenge packs a month than it is to do both together, okay? You are going to be much more successful and have a much higher income if you do both sides of the business and you recruit people onto your team, okay? So if you're somebody that's like, I really want to do this full time, you know, I want to replace my full-time job, or I want to have, you know, a solid weekly income, then you need to be recruiting coaches into your business. It just is what it is. And one of the things that Christina talked about that I freaking loved, and it is the first time that I've ever heard a coach mention this. And I was like, wow, like epiphany moment. So most of you on this call, some of you might know, but most of you on this call don't know that when I signed up as a coach back in the day, the requirement to hit Success Club, in order to hit Success Club, one of those people had to be a coach. So every single month, in order to hit Success Club, you had to sign at least one new coach. And guys, we did it, and it wasn't crazy hard, and we didn't think about it. And so Christina talked about how she's like, you know, somewhere along the line, somebody decided to change that. They decided to make it easier to where you could achieve Success Club without signing on a coach. She's like, and honestly, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes they ever made, because the way she worded it is, she's like, it made us all soft. Like we all got soft. So we went from just knowing that that was part of the business. If you want to hit Success Club, you're going to sign up one coach every month at least. So we went from just doing that second nature, you know, being trained that way, to not having to do it anymore. So then a lot of us started shying away from that area, and we converted more to only adding challengers, and we started getting like afraid of recruiting coaches into the business. So I just thought that was like a really cool thing that a lot of people don't talk about. So I just think it's funny how, you know, it like, cause I see it with myself too. Cause I remember back in the day, you know, I used to recruit coaches like that. And I never really thought about the fact that, maybe it was because that is what I had to do. That's what we were supposed to do. Right. So it got a little too easy, I think. So I think we need to get that mentality of like, you should be recruiting one new coach at least every month. It should be a business plan. It should be a non-negotiable in our business if you want to move forward. Okay. Number 3 is you can only advance in rank if you recruit coaches onto your team. Again, another one that we all know, but I think we kind of don't think about. But there's no doubt that you cannot advance in rank by adding challengers to your team. Okay. So the only way you can advance in rank in your business is by adding coaches to your team. And if you want a successful business that is going to thrive and create you a full-time income, you need to rank advance. Okay. You want to rank advance. You need to rank advance. Every time you rank advance, your income potential gets higher. Okay. Number 4 is another one that I love, that people don't mind being recruited. So I was really thinking about this with myself. I was talking to somebody else about this, and I was thinking about how, so when me personally, when I'm thinking about people that I want to recruit onto my team, people that I'm actually going to take the time out to go send them an invite. You guys, I have specific people that I'm going to do this with. And it is people that I like, I enjoy being around. It's people that I could see myself growing a business with and spending time with and going on trips with. It is not people who I look at and I'm like, ugh, like you're negative, or you know what I mean? Like, it's not people that I despise. Okay. So when you're recruiting somebody, you're not recruiting people that you don't like. You're recruiting people that you look up to, or people that you respect, or there's something in them that you see that you want, that makes you want to run a business with them. Okay, so that in itself is a compliment. So when you go and you recruit somebody, they're not going to be offended that you came to them and you're like, girl, like, I love what you post. I think you're positive and you're inspirational, and I like what you put out there. I would love to do this with you. I would love to build a team with you. I'd love to have you on my team. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so offended and mad that you complimented me, you know, and told me that you're somebody that you would want to build a business with. Okay, so I think we need to kind of flip our mindset with that. Instead of looking at it like people are going to be like pissed off when you try to recruit them to your team, look at it on the other side of it where it really is a compliment. Okay, you're telling them like, hey, I respect you that much that I want to do this with you. And I also care about you enough to offer you this opportunity. Okay, so people don't mind being recruited. Another thing she talked about is, if you stop and think about it, we are all being recruited all the time for different things in different areas. Okay, you are recruiting people for things that aren't even related to your business. One of the examples she'd use is Netflix shows. Okay, how many of us have a favorite Netflix show and we go onto our Facebook or whatever and we're like, listen, we just binge watched the whole season of the show. It's freaking awesome. You have to watch it, and you have to watch it, and you have to watch it. And then they're like, well, why should I watch it? And you're like, well, let me tell you why you should watch it. I'm going to sell you on this show. So we recruit them to watch that show, but we do that without hesitation because we don't have anything tied to it. Okay, so we don't have those irrational fears that we've created about this Netflix show because we're not, you know, financially or personally tied to it in any way. But then when it comes to our business, we create all these fears, you know, because we are directly tied to our own businesses. Okay, so it's just like with sales and recruiting. It's a normal part of life, and we all do it with everything. We're all being recruited for something. We're all buying something. We're all selling something. Okay, so you just gotta learn how to like kind of separate that barrier where it's like, oh, if it's something I'm personally tied to, like it's this awful, gross thing. All right. So number 5 is everything you need to be successful is already within you. Everything else is a skill that you can learn. Okay. What this means, guys, is like you are who you are. Okay. We are all who we are. And there's nobody on this call that is a piece of crap, terrible person. I can tell you that. Like, we all are good people. We all truly want to help people. We're not out to freaking scam people and make money off of them. We're really here to give them something that's going to help them. Okay. Our makeup of who we are, our personality, our talents, like, you know, the things that we're passionate about, the experiences that we've had that make us want to help other people, all those things, they're already within us. We are who we are. We already have our makeup designed, okay? So just know that you already have all of that stuff to be successful at this. Then everything else that we need, it can all be learned, okay? So, you know, if you're like, man, I really suck at inviting, guess what? That's a skill that you learn and you practice and you get better at. You know, if you're like, hey, I have no idea how to take these pretty pictures with filters or whatever, that is a skill that you can go on YouTube and watch tutorials and you can learn that. So every other thing that you can think of that you're like, oh, I'm not good at, or, you know, whatever, you can learn that skill. You just have to be intentional about it. You have to practice it. You have to research it. You have to ask questions, you know, and educate yourself. So everything you need to be successful, you already have. If you decide not to learn the other skills, guys, it's on you. If we decide like, oh, we can't do this because we're not good at that, that is simply just us making an excuse and letting an excuse get in the way. Okay. So everybody should know that there is no reason why you can't do this. There's no reason why you can't recruit coaches into your business. You have everything you need. You can learn everything else that you need to learn. All right. So those are the truths about recruiting coaches into the business. The next category is the prereqs. Okay. The prerequisites. So the number one prereq to be successful at recruiting coaches into your business is you need to understand why you're in this business, which we've all heard it 5 million times. What's your why? What's your why? But this is something that I think some of us kind of struggle with to really figure out. So I'm going to kind of tell you like a couple tips that I've learned to kind of really pinpoint it. I was listening to a call by, what's her name? Myra Mora. I always forget how to pronounce it. She's a top 10 coach. And she talked about how when she began in the business, she remembers talking to a coach, and I think they were like kind of at the same level. They were, they might've been diamond coaches. I think they were diamond coaches at the time. And she was having a conversation with this coach, and they were talking about their why in the business. And she said that she's listening to this coach talk, and the coach was saying, you know, my why, the reason I'm going to be successful at this is because my husband's in the Army. Sorry guys, I've been like indigestion all day. I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to burp, but I don't need to burp. My husband's in the Army. He, you know, goes away for 6 months at a time or whatever it is. We have like 2 young children, and he never gets to see them. And that's my why. And that's why I'm doing this business. And Moira, I wish I knew how to pronounce her name, said that she remembers sitting back going, wow, like that's a really good why. My why is because I want a pool, and, you know, I want to look good, like in a bikini. And she said that her why like felt like this like small little insignificant thing compared to this other girl's why. But she said that she got so intentional about her why and putting in the effort. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But she got really intentional about putting in the work and focusing on her why, even though it might have been something stupid and small to somebody else. It was important to her. She got really intentional about that. And she said that she watched over the years, her business started doing this, and the other girl's business started doing this. And she said she sat back and she was like, when, you know, she had such a strong why, how could my business do this and her business do this? And it was simply because the other girl didn't take action. Okay. She thought she had this why, and, you know, maybe this really was her why in her head, but she obviously wasn't dialed in enough to be, to have the motivation to take enough action to move forward in her business when it comes to this why. Okay. So it's not only about finding your why, it's also about really dialing in and figuring it out and then taking action with it. So one thing that I've heard that kind of helps you figure out, like, okay, why do I want this? All right, I want a new pool. Why do I even want a new pool? So ask yourself 5 questions related to your why. Okay, so why do I want a new pool? Well, I want a new pool because I want to be able to swim at my house. Why do you want to be able to swim at your house? Well, I want to be able to swim at my house so I can, you know, enjoy Florida days. Well, why do you want to enjoy Florida days? Well, you know, I want people to be able to come over and swim in my pool with me. Well, why do you want people to be able to come over and swim in your pool with you? Well, I want people to be able to come over and swim in my pool and enjoy my house in Florida with the beautiful sunshine and whatever, so I can have the community in my house, people hanging out. Okay, so that's your why. It's not the pool. Your pool is not your why. Your why is that you want your house to be a place where people gather. You want it to be a place of community where your friends and your family come over and they enjoy themselves and you have parties and, you know, whatever. Okay, so get to the part of the why that like gets you excited and it like hits you like in your emotions. Okay, that's what you need when it comes to your why. You don't need the surface, like, you know, I want financial freedom. Okay, well, why do you want financial freedom? What are you going to do with your finances? I want to pay off debt. Why do you want to be debt free? What does that mean to you? Like, what is that actually going to do for your life when you get there? And these are all things that I thought I was doing it right in the beginning. Like, I want to be debt free and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I had all these like not superficial. I don't want to call them superficial, but I had like these surface whys. And guys, I didn't get debt free. You know what I did? I got myself into more debt when I started making money because I started living within my means, because I said I wanted to be debt free, but I didn't have a picture in my head of what that looked like. And I had to learn the lesson of, oh, okay, this is why I actually want to be debt free. So I don't have to, you know, have all these medical bills hanging over my head. And I don't have to, you know, be worried about the income that I'm bringing in to make sure that I can support my family. Okay, so get to the part of the why that like really gets your emotions going and figure out, you know, what it really means for you. So a couple books, if you're like, I just have a hard time with this, which I will tell you guys, finding your why was always a struggle for me. Like, I knew for a fact that it had something to do with my family and it had something to do with my kids. Like, and time with them was like my biggest thing. And I knew that, but like I had a hard time figuring out the rest of it. So if you do figure out or feel like you kind of have a tough time with that area, a couple books that you can read that I haven't read yet. I do plan on reading them soon. Actually, as soon as I get done with the book that I'm reading right now, I'm going to start one of these. But it's Simon Sinek. You guys have probably heard of him. But the 2 books are Start With Why and Find Your Why. Okay, so they're not a sequel, but from what I've read, everybody says to kind of start with why. Start with that book first, and then read Find Your Why. But in Find Your Why, he really helps you break it down to where you really, really know what you're working towards, okay? The other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about is, Moira. I wish I wasn't butchering her name. That is right? It's Moira? Okay. Such an odd name. Like, I'm like, it just doesn't sound right when I say it. So when she was talking about finding her why and all this stuff, she talked about something that she did when it came to her vision. And she talked about, you know, how she moved her business forward while the other one didn't. And she said that one of the things she did, she was watching a call. I think she said the call was by Lindsay Matway. And I don't know what the call was. I don't even know if it's still in existence. This was years ago. But she said that in the call, Lindsay sat there and she talked about, you know, okay, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? Like, where would you go? What would your house look like? What schools would your kids go to? You know, all those kind of questions. Like, if you already had the money, if you already had it, if it was already there, what would all these things look like to you? And like, get specific, like about the important stuff, you know, like whatever's important to you. But so she said that she sat there on that call that night and she ended up going home and she started to write out her vision. And she's like, I got excited because I realized that this was real. Like, this business is real. Creating this vision is real. It's not like going and buying a lottery ticket and being like, oh, if I had $1 million from the lottery, what would I do with it? You know, when it's like, I don't know if I'm going to win or not. But she's like, I went home and I finally had this realization that I'm writing out this vision for something that is going to come true because this business is real. And I've watched it happen for other people. And if you really stick to your vision, it's going to happen. Okay. So she talked about creating that vision. She said that something that she started doing is she wrote out her vision. She's like, it wasn't fancy. It wasn't like this pretty poetic thing, but it spoke to me, like it spoke to her. It made sense to me. So when I read it every morning, I understood it and I understood what I wanted. So for me, I'm like more of a visual person. You guys might be that way too. So this is really where vision boards come into place. And I know so many people think it's stupid and it's a waste of time and whatever, but you guys, I'm telling you, and I've said this 1,000 times, there is something to be said for looking at that every single day and having it in your mind. And I swear, I think a big difference between the coaches that are successful and the ones that aren't is that the ones that are successful, they have it in their mind every single day. It's just like using this Biz Tracker. It's in your mind every single day, so you're going to do it. When you don't have the vision board on your mind, you're not looking at it every day, you're going to forget about it. You're not going to be intentional about, you know, going after those goals. When you aren't using the Biz Tracker every day, there's going to be areas that you skip over because your brain's going to skip it and go to something else. Okay. So either write out your vision, you know, make it specific so it speaks to you, or make a vision board and look at it every single morning. She said that she's been a coach for like 7 or 8 years too. And she said every single morning she looks at her vision. And obviously as you go, your vision's going to change. You're going to achieve things. You're going to hit certain goals. Your vision like might even change because you might decide, you know what, that's not really important to me anymore. It's always going to be evolving. So change it. As soon as you start looking at your vision board, or you start looking at your vision that you have written down, and you're like, it's not really exciting me anymore. It's not giving me that oomph anymore. It's time to change it, okay? It's time to do something different. Recreate it. Do something different. But you always need something in front of your face that's getting you excited, okay? So she wrote out her vision, and she read it every single morning. Then she said that there's something else that she started doing that I've never heard of before that I thought is really cool, and she calls it the Book of Proof, okay? So you have your vision that you look at every morning, your vision board, whatever it is. And then she said that she literally has, it's like a journal, and she'll write on the front of it, Book of Proof. And so you just go get any journal. And she said that every day she writes down the wins or the proof that the vision is coming true. Okay, so this doesn't have to be like, I bought my brand new car today, or I built my dream home today. It can be any small win. And everybody, if you're doing something in your business, we all have wins every single day. Okay. It might be, you know, that somebody signed up, or it might be that, hey, you reached out to somebody who was going through a hard time, or, you know, you had somebody reach out to you and tell you that you're an inspiration, or you did a post that got you out of your comfort zone. Like you finally got out of that comfort zone and you realized it wasn't that scary. Okay. So whatever it is, whatever your wins are for the day, whatever your proof that you're moving forward and you're getting closer to that vision, write those down every day. Keep a journal of it. Okay. And she did say that she's like changed this up a couple times. It started as a gratitude journal, which is actually something that I started doing in my challenge group a couple months ago. But it started as a gratitude journal every day. This is what I'm grateful for. Because she said she started it when she got sober, when she was 21, I think, is when she started that. And she said that after a little while, the gratitude journal kind of lost its umph, you know? So she's like, all right, I'm not excited about doing my gratitude journal anymore. It's just kind of become like this thing that I do. So it's time to switch it up. And then that's when she came up with the book of proof. Okay. So she said, she's like, how many of us go to bed with anxiety every night? Or how many of us go to bed, you know, like dreading what's going to happen the next day, or, you know, stuff like that. Like we let ourselves go to sleep with that bad mindset. She's like, instead of doing that, you pull out your book of proof, and every single night before you go to bed, you read your wins for the day. You read the good things that happen. Okay. So you're setting yourself up for success with your vision in the morning, and then you're going to bed reading your book of proof. Okay. I haven't started implementing this yet, but I plan to. I actually have it written down on my, my tracker. I wrote down, I'm adding in like a little checkbox for it. And it says read vision every day and keep BOP. So if you guys see that in the picture on my tracker, that's what that is. To check that off to make sure I'm doing that every day. All right. So number 2 for the prereqs is believe in the mission that we're on. Okay. Which is a big one. If you guys want to be successful as coaches, you have to believe in what we do. Okay. And Christina Delgado had an awesome point, a super simple point. If you don't believe wholeheartedly in the mission that we're on, you need to go all in on a program. Okay. You need to pick a workout program and you need to freaking do it to a T, because a couple things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to get really excited about what you're doing. You're going to share it. You're going to inspire other people. You're going to start bringing people on. And then you're going to get awesome results. Because guys, if you do any of our programs and you actually follow them, how you're supposed to follow them, you do the workouts, you do the meal plans, you're going to get great results. Okay. And that's only going to help your business. So if you're lacking in the area of, you know, feeling like passionate about offering what we do, find a workout program and go all in. And a couple perfect examples of this that I want to share with you guys. So I think most of you probably know who Emily Faber is. If you don't, real quick, basically she started as like an emerald coach. She went from like an emerald coach to like a 17-star diamond coach in a matter of like, I don't even think it was a year. I think it was less time than that. Okay. She literally like skyrocketed the fastest I think any Beachbody coach ever has in the history of Beachbody. And she will tell you that it all started with 80-Day Obsession. So she was chosen to be in the test group for 80-Day Obsession. She went all in and she just started sharing her journey and she freaking took off. Okay. So then I was sitting back and I was thinking about, you know, so what, like, this last year for me was like a big turning point in my business. Most of you know this. Come January, I was like, all right, it is a fresh year. I'm letting go of all the crap I went through last year. And this is going to be a different year. It's going to be a different time in my business, a different time in my life. And it was funny because I didn't really think about it until later on. But that was also the time that I decided to go all in with 80-Day Obsession as well. So I went all in with 80-Day Obsession, guys, in January of this year. And I can tell you for the first time in the history of my business, I have hit at least Success Club 5. A lot of months it's been Success Club 10 easily for the last 9 months straight. And I know you guys hear the accolades of all the other coaches and their Success Club All-Stars and all that. But that wasn't my case, okay? The last however many years of my business, I had a successful business, but I would have months here and there where I would miss Success Club. I would have some months where I would hit Success Club 15, and then I would have a month where I would end with 3 or 4. So for the last 9 months, I have hit Success Club easily. It hasn't been a struggle. And I don't say that to like sound braggy or anything like that. But guys, it started with me going all in with 80-Day Obsession. And I hit Success Club usually in the middle of the month. I have already hit it. And then towards the end of the month, I'm not stressed about trying to meet this huge goal anymore. Like, and that used to be a thing for me all the time. The end of every single month, it was like, I got to do this. Like, who can I sign up? You know, can I, you know, call my mom? Has it been 6 months since she ordered? You know, like, and I was constantly stressing about it. And going all in with 80-Day Obsession, sharing that journey completely changed the way my business moved forward. Okay. So if that's something that you haven't done, if you haven't gone all in with a program and you haven't shared about it consistently, do that. It will change your business. Okay. All right. So number 3 is personal development, which we all know about. I'm not going to spend any time talking about that. You need to be doing personal development every single day. There's 2 different categories of personal development you need to be doing. You need to be doing one related to the business. You know, you need to be watching trainings, things like that. Guys, the business is always evolving. There's always better ideas like being put out there and things like that happening. And don't feel like you have to change everything you're doing all the time, but it's always nice to hear what's working and hear the different ideas. Okay. So you need to be doing the business stuff. And then you also need to be doing your personal development. Okay. We all have stuff that we struggle with. Nobody's perfect up here. All right. Like, we've all got our junk. Okay. So you need to be working on yourself and your mindset constantly, just so you can feel more confident as a person and you can feel more excited about what you have to offer and just be more excited about life in general. Okay. So do personal development. Number 4, kind of branching off of the being excited thing, is your energy and your enthusiasm. Okay. This is huge. This is huge when it comes to bringing people onto your team. Because I can tell you that most people don't want to join somebody that's like, hey, yeah, so I'm going to bring some coaches onto my team. Let me know if you're interested. Like, if you put a post out there that's like, you know, all right, well, I'm looking for a couple coaches to join my team. People aren't going to come running to join your team. Either that, or you're going to attract the people that you don't want to work with. They're going to be the people that you are like, why? What did I do to get you here? Like, what happened here? So think about your energy and think about what you're putting out there when you're attracting people. Are you being energetic and excited and enthusiastic and showing them like, hey, this business is fun and you're going to have fun? Or are you showing them like, hey, this business kind of sucks, but this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm going to put it out there and see if you want to join. So think about what you're putting out there. I heard one coach, it might have been on the National Wake Up Call. It might have been Megan or Meg. And she talked about how when she's inviting or doing her posts or things like that, she always uses emojis. That's because like when we're reading a text message or a message or whatever, it's getting like filtered through that person's mindset. Okay. So if they're in like a crappy mindset or they're, you know, just whatever, like it's going to get filtered through their mindset, not ours. Okay. So using emojis really kind of helps to like show them, hey, I'm excited. Like, I'm a happy person. Yay. You know, I'm putting an emoji out there that looks happy. So use emojis. Another thing you can do, if it works for you, you got to kind of figure out what does work for you, but the voice message feature. That's an easy way to show people your enthusiasm and do that. With me, it doesn't always work for my audience because I find like with all my Instagram stories and things like that, my people are more readers. Like they like to read things. I'm like that. Like, don't call me. Do not call me because I'm not answering your phone call. I might listen to a voice message from you depending on who you are. But if you want me to take time to read what you are trying to, or, you know, listen to what you're trying to give me a text message or a message. That way I can read it when I have time. So you just got to kind of figure out what works for you, but just make sure that when you're putting it out there, you're showing people that you're excited, and the thing you have to offer is something they should be excited about, okay? When people see that, guys, they want to join you. People crave, like human nature. We crave community. We crave happiness. There's nobody out there that deep down inside is like, I want to hate my life and I want to hate people. Like, we are humans that are designed to have community and have relationships, and we long for happiness, okay? So put that stuff out there so you can bring those people in, because that's what they want. That's what everybody wants out of life, all right? So then the last category is how to actually do these things, okay? These are like action steps, things that you need to do to get there, okay? Number one is you're always inviting and you're always finding opportunities to invite. Okay, so this, I mean, we pretty much already know this, but this is basically, you need to have like an active potentials list all the time, guys. So, you know, you should have a list of like 20 people at a time that you want as a challenger. You sign somebody up, you mark somebody off, you add 5 more, okay? What this does is it simplifies it. It keeps it organized so you don't, you know, have to constantly go scroll your Facebook and figure out, oh, wait, like who was I thinking about the other day, or who did I want to invite? Keep your list with you. It makes it simple. You can go to that list, invite those people, move on. But it also always gives you like a pipeline to choose from, okay? So always have that list. And if you're like, oh, I don't have 20 people. Yes, you do. You're just not working hard enough to find them. You need to go look in your friends list. You need to go to your Instagram followers. You need to think about your mom's hairdresser or your uncle's friend or whoever it is. And you really need to take the time to sit down and write down people who are potentials. And then you need to be building your community, okay? You need to be adding friends. You need to be finding more people on Instagram. Which there's so many apps and stuff out there, guys, that makes it easy nowadays. You just got to get in there and do it, okay? So you always need to have lists. Your biz tracker, this is going to help you with inviting, okay? It lays it out for you. So when it comes to inviting coaches, you need to make sure that you're putting coaching breadcrumbs out there. You need to make sure that you're putting coaching call to actions. And then you need to make sure that you're starting new conversations, you're doing follow-ups, you're doing private coach invites. I know it kind of sounds like a lot when you say it all, but guys, once you actually sit down and start doing it, it really kind of flows together and it just becomes easy the more you do it, all right? So just get it done. Number 2, you know who you want on your team, okay? This is, you guys have probably all heard everybody talk about avatars and things like that. It's not like, okay, in the real world, not every single person that joined your team is going to be like your ideal coach. You know, you might even sign up people. I've done this where, you know, I sign up people and I'm like, oh my gosh, they are like literally me. We are going to work together like this. And then you find out who they really are. Okay. So it's not always going to be like perfection. So I don't want to like paint this picture that, you know, once you know who you want to attract to your team, like it's just going to be sunshine and rainbows for the rest of the time. And everybody you sign up is going to do exactly what you want them to do and blah, blah, blah. But you do want to have a general idea of who you're talking to in your posts and a general idea of who you would like to work with. Okay. So like, if you're not somebody that ever, you know, cusses or you're offended by cuss words, you're not going to want to go sign up somebody that's dropping F-bombs on their Facebook. That's going to kind of create like a weird barrier. If you're, you know, a big Christian and that's like a big part of your life, you might not want to sign up somebody that like hates God. You know what I mean? So like have a general idea of who you want to work with. So you are investing time trying to find those people instead of wasting time trying to find people that you're going to end up losing anyways because you're not right for each other. So, all right, number 3, you need to learn how to leverage your leadership. Okay, so when it comes to bringing coaches onto your team, Christina, how does she refer to it? When she talks about your leadership, she calls it humble with a hint of Kanye, is how she refers to it. So when you're levering your leadership, think about humble with a hint of Kanye. So you need to be humble, okay? You need to be like kind and all that stuff. But then you need to like be a little bit of a badass when it comes to your leadership and being like, hey, like I know what I'm doing and I'm confident about it. Okay, so humble but confident. And you need to show those two things when it comes to your leadership. So you can do this by doing recognition, like with your challengers. Showing challenger results is always a big one. You can do this by recognizing coaches on your team. You can do it by talking about weekly numbers or Success Club numbers. And one of the things she talked about is in the beginning as a new coach, a lot of new coaches are like, well, I've only got like one coach under me. Like nobody's going to care about that. And she, you know, was like, guys, even if you're just recognizing yourself and your one coach, freaking do it and do it every week. Because the people that are watching, they don't care. Like they don't care and they don't know. They, you know, they're not going to be like, oh, she only has one coach under her. They have no freaking idea what it means. Like they don't know. Just because you're recognizing yourself and one other coach doesn't mean that you don't have 100 coaches on your team. They don't know what that means, but they see the recognition and they see you showing up to that leadership role and having success and confidence with that leadership role. Okay. And so it shows your confidence as a leader and it shows them that they can trust you to be their leader. Okay. So leverage your leadership. You know, think about the skills that you have like as a leader and talk about those things. Instagram stories is a really good, easy place to do this. You know, talk about even team calls, like anything along those lines. Leslie, I saw on your stories last night. Leslie, she did that. Like she leveraged her leadership in like a really good way. I forget exactly what you did, but I know you did a picture. I don't know. You did a video talking about your call and then you did a picture of the four of you together. So things like that, guys, that's what people need to see. Number 4, become a master storyteller. Okay. So a really good book that kind of covers this subject, if you haven't read it yet, is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Donald Miller. Okay. Building a Story Brand. It really breaks down like network marketing and just selling in general. It breaks down how to tell your story like a story. So human nature, guys, we like stories. If you think about every movie you've ever watched or every show you watch, okay, think about the shows that get us hooked on Netflix. It's because they have a really good storyline, okay? People like stories. They like to try to figure out what's going to happen, or they like, you know, the excitement of wondering what's going to happen. Okay, so become a master storyteller. And remember that you're not the hero, you're the guide. This is a big one, okay? You're not the hero of your business, you're the guide. So you have to be careful not to paint this like, me, like look at me picture, because when you do that, a lot of people are gonna be like, no, like go away, I'm not interested in you, you're like, conceited is the word I'm looking for. Like you don't want people to think you're conceited, but you want to show them that you're confident, okay? But instead of painting yourself as the hero, like I did this all myself and look at me, I figured it all out, you want to paint yourself as the guide. Like, you know, I worked really hard, I learned these things, my team helped me, we did it together. Like be the guide. You know, these were my struggles and these are the tools that I used to overcome them. These are the struggles that I had in my life before I started the business. And this is what the business was able to help me change. Okay. So be the guide. Okay. So that's all I'll kind of talk about on that. If you're like, hey, I need to become a better storyteller, read that book. It breaks it down for you. Number 5, become highly organized at inviting your customers to the opportunity. And I will be the first to admit, like I already admitted before, this is an area that I really lack in. And it's funny because looking at my weekly tracker, I'm killing it in like all the areas except, let's see, the breadcrumbs and things like that I'm doing good with. But like the private coach invites, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to step that up at the end of this week. And new conversations, things like that, guys, those are not my areas that I run to. Something that kind of, it's not a bad or a good thing, but with me, I've always been used to people coming to me. So I've always been really good at putting my stuff out there. Okay. I've always been great at sharing consistently. I've never had a problem with that. From the first time, or when I first began as a coach, I didn't really have a problem putting myself out there. That was easy for me, and I did it consistently. I've always done it consistently in my business. So because of that, I've had a lot of people come to me. But then I was sitting back thinking about, okay, so I'm really great at the consistency and sharing all that, and people come to me, but what if I really got better at doing this other side? I could probably double what I'm doing in my business. So why am I holding back in that area? Okay, so just because, people come to you, which I know, like Leslie, you're a lot like me in that area. Elise, I know you've been killing it with inviting, but like, if you're somebody that's good at posting and putting it out there, don't hold back because you're like, well, everybody's coming to me, so I don't really need to go to them. Instead, be like, all right, well, I'm going to double my business because I'm going to do both sides of it. Okay, so get highly organized about inviting your customers to the opportunity. Christina Delgado said that she invites all of her customers to be coaches about 15 days after they sign up. So she tries to convert them to coaches 15 days after they sign up. This doesn't necessarily mean that they're all becoming working coaches. A lot of them will end up being discount coaches. So that's something that you need to decide on for your own business, what you want to do. But I will tell you that if you have a customer who is drinking Shakeology or ordering Performance Line or anything along those lines, there's no reason not to offer the discount coaching opportunity to them for their sake. Okay. It's going to save them money. So get more intentional about doing that. Invite all of your customers. Some of your best coaches are going to be your challengers, guys, because they have already done it. They saw what the programs do. They see, what it does for them personally. So they're not afraid to talk about it. Okay. And then number 6 is keep your blinders on and stay in your lane. So this is another big one, guys. If you want to be a successful leader and you really want to move forward in your business, there are going to come times, okay, where once you start seeing success and you start growing and all that, there's going to be people that don't like that, right? There are going to be people in your newsfeed that, when you start sharing your successes or things like that, deep down inside, they might really want what you have and what you're creating, but they don't take the initiative for themselves. So they're going to be, I don't want to say jealous, but they're almost going to be bitter because they're like, I really want that, but I don't have that. And you're going to come across those things. Luckily, I haven't come across that very often, but you will have people that don't necessarily want to make you feel great about what you're doing, or you're going to have people that are jealous of you or whatever it is. Okay. So keep your blinders on when it comes to what you're going after. Keep your blinders on when it comes to your vision. That goes for, the same thing as getting distracted by other things. Like, okay, so if you're like, you know what, I'm really slacking on my business tracker for the week. I really kind of haven't done my invites for the day, but I really want to go watch This Is Us. Which direction do you think you should go if you want success in the future with your business? Okay, so you have to think about those things. Okay, you got to keep your blinders on and, keep moving forward, or you're going to get lost and you're going to end up going backwards. I'm not saying to never enjoy your life. Okay, I used to be somebody that was like, I am not ever going to watch TV because I have no extra time to do those kind of things. Like literally, guys, for I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years, I did not watch a TV show because I was like, I'm too busy. I don't have time. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I need to find a balance where I'm enjoying my life and going after my goals. Okay. So I'm not telling you not to have balance in your life. I'm just telling you to make sure that you're focused on what you're going after and you're making sure that you're not, messing up your own goals. Okay. So keep your blinders on and stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, guys. Like, don't let other people get you flustered. Don't let, other crap that other people have going on, don't get into politics on Facebook. Don't get into drama with other MLM businesses. Like, don't go there with any of that. That just brings negative energy to you. It's crap that you don't need to engage in. Okay. So keep those blinders on, keep moving forward, and just stay focused on your team, your business, and the things that are going to move you forward. And then the last thing is just remain disciplined in the activities you have. Oh, I'm like, what did I write? The last thing is remain disciplined in all of these activities. Okay. And what I wrote is you have to talk about the business if you want to grow the business. Okay. So we already talked about this. If you find that you don't talk about the business very often, you're probably not going to grow your business very quickly. You're not going to bring on very many new coaches. So if you want to recruit new people into your business, you have to talk about the business, guys. You got to do all these things and you have to do them consistently. Okay. So just make the decision right now. Like, it's not complicated, guys. I've been following this tracker, and yes, it can be time consuming. And yes, you have to make some sacrifices, for what you want in the future, but it's not impossible and it's fun. Like, it's enjoyable. You can find passion in what we do. So just make the decision that all those hesitations or all that crap that was holding you back before, just let it go and just move forward and go freaking recruit the crap out of some coaches, because you can do it. Okay. And then you're going to sit back and you're going to be like, man, look, I finally created the business that I wanted and I have the income that I was aiming for. And now I can actually start to do those things that I wanted and, mark off the things on my vision board. Okay. So just dive in, do those things, and stay consistent. All right. Let me hit the stop recording.